Alright, today we are solving equations. We're rewriting equations and formulas. It says write the equation in function form. Function form means we are solving for y. We need y all by itself. So we just need to move things around until this letter y is all by itself. It's just like solving an equation. We have one letter, but now we have two. That letter, we just don't know what it is. So first, like we've done before, get rid of your addition or subtraction. This whole term is a positive, so that's considered addition. We're moving the whole thing, not just the two. If you were just moving the two, you would divide, but since we want to move the whole thing, it's positive, we need to do the opposite and subtract 2x. 2x minus 2x makes 0, so we have 2y. And notice I put the 2x off to the side a little bit. We can't combine an 8 with an x, because this is just a number, this has a variable, so we have to write them separately. It'll help you later if you write your x term first, negative 2x, and then plus 8. Y is not by itself yet. It's multiplied by 2, so the opposite of multiplying is going to be divide. Whenever you're dividing, you need to divide every single term by 2, or whatever number you're dividing by. 2 over 2 is just 1. So if we simplify this, it's a negative 2 over 2, which is 1x, plus 8 divided by 2, which is 4. We have y all by itself, and we're done. We'll do the same thing here. We want to get y all by itself. It doesn't matter which term you move first. This is a negative 4x, so I'm going to move it to the other side by adding 4x. Those make 0. We have 9y minus 9. And 0 plus anything is just that other number there, 4x. We're still trying to get y by itself. We need to still get rid of this addition and subtraction. So I'm going to add 9. Those eliminate. We have 9y. And again, we can't combine those, so write your x's first. 4x plus 9. Now we're super close. All we have to get rid of is that 9. The opposite of multiplying is divide. And just like before, divide every single number by 9. So that makes 1. We have y equals. If it's not going to make a nice number, just leave it as a fraction. 4/9 x plus 9 over 9, which is 1. Let's try a couple more. Draw your line down. This time y is over here, that's fine. We need to get rid of this addition and subtraction first, and then multiplication and division. We're still just doing the order of operations backwards. This is a positive, so we're going to subtract 11. Now I can combine this 11 with the 3, so I'm going to put it underneath the 3 instead of the 6x. So those are gone. 3 minus 11 will give me a negative 8. And then plus 6x equals negative 4y. And now I want y by itself still. So this is multiplied. We need to divide everything by negative 4. Those are gone. Negative 8 divided by negative 4 is a positive 2. And then 6 over 4, it's going to be negative. So there's a negative there. And we can simplify 6 over 4 by dividing by 2. And we'd get 3 over 2. X. If you can simplify, simplify. And that's it. Our y is by itself. On this next one, we need y by itself, but I see there's two x's and they're already on the same side, so we can combine them. This one was negative, so 8 minus 5 is 3x. Then it says plus 21 equals 36 minus 6y. We still want y by itself, so I'll get rid of just that number, addition and subtraction first. I'm going to subtract 36. And I'm putting it underneath the 21 because those are just numbers. This one has an x, we can't combine with that. So we have 3x. There's more negatives. There are 15 more negatives. Those are gone. And we have a negative 6y. We're really close. This is multiplied. The opposite would be dividing by negative 6. So we have y. 3 over 6 is the same as 1/2 if we divide by 3. So it's a negative 1/2 x. Two negatives here make a positive. And 15 over 6, we can also simplify that. If I divide by 3, we get 5 over 2. So if you leave it like that, that's fine. But since this is just a number, it doesn't have an x, if you want to write that as 2.5, like if you divide this, 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Either of those would be okay right there. Two more, solving for y. I think that's it. Yep. We want y by itself, so get rid of your addition and subtraction first. I'm going to subtract 4. And I'm putting it underneath the negative 2 because those are both just numbers. 12x, and they're all negative, so negative 6. And then the opposite of multiplying by 6 is dividing by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2x, and minus 6 over 6, which is 1. Alright, last one like this. Leave y where it is. Let's move this negative 6x by adding 6x. Now I should have put this to the side a little bit, because we can't combine the 14 with the 6x. We're going to have to write them separately. And we have 7y. Oops, that looks like an x. And then last, the opposite of multiplying by 7 is dividing by 7. 6 over 7 is not going to be a nice number, just leave it as 6 over 7x, plus 14 divided by 7, which is 2. Alright, now getting into a couple word problems. It says the area of a triangle is given by this formula, a equals 1/2 bh, where b is the base and h is the height. So A says, solve the formula for the height. Just like we were solving for y, we're going to take this equation, so I'll multiply here, and we're going to get h all by itself. So first, to get rid of this fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. Remember, to undo a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. So 1 over 1 and 2 over 2 cancels out, and we have b times h. Well, 2 times a is 2a. 1 over 1 times 1 is 1. You don't really need to divide by 1. It's still just 2a. And then last, we want h by itself. Well, it's multiplied by b, so to get rid of b, we just have to divide by b. b over b is just 1, just like 3 over 3 is just 1. b over b is just 1. So we have h equals 2a over b. We don't know what those letters are, but we solved for h like they asked. Now it says, part B, use the rewritten formula, this one here, to find the height of the triangle shown. Find h, which has an area, the triangle has an area of 64.4 square meters. So I'm just going to rewrite it. It says 2a over b equals h. So we know 2 times the area they just told us was 64.4. We're going to divide that by the base, which over here is 14. So in my calculator, I'm going to type 2 times 64.4, and I get 128.8. And we have to divide that by 14, and we get 9.2. So our height equals 9.2. Here's another one. It says the perimeter P of a rectangle is given by this formula. Here's our equation, where L is the length and W is the width. Solve the equation, solve the formula for the width. So I'm just going to write it out. P equals 2L plus 2W. We want to get, what did it say? W all by itself. So first let's get rid of this other piece that was added or subtracted there. It was a positive, so I'm going to just subtract it over to the other side. And we don't know what either of these really are, so I'm just going to write P minus 2L equals 2w. Now to get w by itself, this is multiplied, so we just need to divide each piece by 2. So we have p over 2 minus 2 over 2 is just 1l, or just l, equals w. This was all part A. Now we're going to do part B. Use the rewritten formula. Okay, I'm going to rewrite it. P over 2 minus L equals W. To find the width, find W of the rectangle shown. Well, they tell us the perimeter right here is 19.2. So let's divide by 2. Minus our length, and the length right here on the bottom is 7.2. That'll give us the width. So in my calculator, 19.2 divided by 2 is 9.6. And then it says minus 7.2. So 9.6 minus 7.2 is going to give me 2.4 for the width. Alright, a couple more. It says the volume of a cone. You don't need to know anything other than this formula. You don't really need to know that this is even the formula for a cone. All you need to know is how to solve for h. So I'm going to rewrite this down here. V equals pi times r squared times h all over 3. Now we want to get h all by itself. So there's this big divide by 3. Well, the opposite of dividing by 3 would just be multiplying by 3. Multiply by 3. 3 over 3 is just 1, so we have pi r squared h equals 3v. Now we want to get h by itself, so these are multiplied, so the opposite would be divide. If you want to divide at the same time pi and r squared, you can. If you wanted to do it separately, that's fine too. But we know pi over pi would just create 1. R squared over r squared would just be 1. So we have h. So we have 3v over pi times r squared. Now, find h when v equals 25.12, when r is 2, and use 3.14 for pi. So let's plug those in. It says 3 times v, and v is 25.12, divided by pi, which is really 3.14 if we round it. It says 2, times r squared, and r is 2, so 2 squared. Order of operations tells us to do our exponent first, so this is really just 4. 2 times 2 is 4. So on the top, I'm going to plug that into my calculator. 3 times 25.12 will give us 75.36. On the bottom, 3.14 times 4 is 12.56. And then let's just divide 75.36 divided by 12.56 is exactly 6. Alright, so our volume of our cone is 6, and volume is cubed, so centimeters cubed, because there's 3 dimensions. Alright, one or two more. Oh, just one more. The surface area of a regular pyramid is S equals B plus 1/2 PL. Solve for L. So S equals B plus 1/2 PL. Just like when we solve equations, get rid of addition and subtraction first. This is just added on at the beginning here. So I'm going to subtract B. So I have S minus B equals 1/2 PL. And these are all touching, so this is multiplied. To get rid of this fraction, to undo a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal, 2 over 1 times 2 over 1. So those cancel, and we have P times L on the right. Now 2 is multiplied by this whole side, so you can either distribute it or just leave it as 2 and then parentheses S minus B. And then last, the opposite of multiplying here is divide. And we want L by itself, so we want to get rid of P, so we're going to divide by P on both sides. So we have 2s minus b all over P. So that's the first part. And then it says find L when s equals 68, b equals 18, and p is 20. So it says 2 times s, and s is 68, minus b, which is 18, all over p, which is 20. So if we follow the order of operations, simplify 68 minus 18 would give us 50. 2 times 50 is 100, and 100 divided by 20 would give us 5. So our length is 5. Alright, your homework is out of, is a worksheet. So go ahead, take that out, and you do have a test coming up.